Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Tuesday, which means it's Good News Day. Yes, we have all the good news you could ever want and need to make yourself feel happy or give yourself hope in humanity again. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got caffeine in our body and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those Good Tuesday headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Good Tuesday. Vanished hornbill species is breeding again among the old trees after 60 years. Plus, the first puffin chick in 30 years spotted emerging from cliffs alongside England's south coast.
And great United States, where we're going to talk about the dumped 500 tons of oysters back in the ocean in 2000. Nearly two decades later, they have created a lot of habitat for marine species, and we'll go back even farther to the 1930s when we planted a bunch of trees after the Dust Bowl.
Canadian professor helps FIFA create tools to keep moms playing soccer or football. And Europe's air quality dramatically improves in 10 years with 39 to 59% drop in industrial and road toxins.
Yeah. And rodent bridges are Washington State. Longview has bridges for squirrels. Plus, there is waste with wind turbines because there's a lot of fiberglass fiber, but now a company is going to repurpose the whole fiber thing.
In my culture news, do you got a ticket to ride? The Beatles fans are stunned as Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr make surprise appearance on the bus tour.
Whoa. That's where your bus was yesterday. It was taxiing Paul McCartney around.
Yeah.
And it's National Water Park Day because it was super hot where you are. It's actually moderate here, but it's National Water Park today. Go jump in the water. It is July 28th, 2026 on Before Coffee.
Okay. Let's get this party started with our first segue. Which is going to be alliteration headline. I almost landed on limerick. I don't know why the wheel loves you so much with the limericks. I want a limerick one time. I'm begging you, the segue wheel. Give me a limerick today.
Well, luck of the spin.
All right, my first story is both my stories about birds, but the first one is about the vanished hornbill. I believe in India. In India. So a hornbill is a bird. It has a very long beak and it's kind of big and fluffy. It's like a very round bird. This is by Andy Corbley on Good News Network. For the fourth year in a row, the Indian gray hornbill has successfully bred in Gujarat state, where they'd been absent for more than 50 years. Despite being listed as a species of least concern by the IUCN, the animal habitat has requirements that can see it quickly succumb to displacement. Indeed, even Gir National Park, an internationally renowned reserve stretching 540 square miles across the West Indian desert, hasn't seen a nesting gray hornbill since the 1960s. But after a strategic reintroduction program was initiated in 2021, these large-scale birds now number 40 strong and counting. It's the fourth year since the program became the nesting pairs had been recorded raising chicks. The bird requires large, mature, native tree species old enough to develop the hollows that can fit the 24-inch long bird inside where they build their nests. They also need an abundant supply of fruit from nearby trees. Because of this, Indian conservationists describe the Indian gray hornbill as one of the subcontinent's indicator species, one which owes its flourishing to the flourishing landscape, and its decline to an early landscape decline that may soon come to affect other species like humans. To attain the arboreal flourishing, areas inside the gear had to undergo years of habitat restoration and careful protection to get them ready for the birds. The Better India reports that this strategy has seen them successfully reach the point whereby their population can breed into a self-sustaining manner, without further reintroductions required to support the animals. Let me go click on this Better India report real quick. This is by Rajrita Dutta. What is this? What does the hornbill reveal about the forest? Unlike many birds that can adapt to fragmented landscapes, hornbills are incredibly choosy about where they live. They need a mature forest with giant native trees. They need tree captivities large enough for their nesting. They need fruiting trees to produce food across different seasons. And most importantly, they need forests that have remained connected over large areas. So no fragmented forests either. It has to be a big, long forest. Take away any of these ingredients and the hornbills struggle to survive. That is why scientists describe them as that indicator species. The gear reintroduction worked not only because birds were released into the wild. Years of habitat restoration, protection, and monitoring made sure the landscape could once again support them. Hornbills are sometimes called the farmers of the forest, and the title is well earned. Most hornbill species feed on fruits, especially figs, berries, and other large forest fruits. Many of these seeds are too large for smaller birds to disperse, so they're scattering those seeds across the forest and making more forest. After feeding, they can fly several kilometers before dropping or regurgitating the seeds. The seeds land far away from the parent tree, reducing competition and giving new saplings a better chance to grow. Over time, this helps forests regenerate naturally. Researchers across India's western Ghats and northeast have shown that hornbills are among the most important long-distance seed dispersers in the tropical forests. Without them, several native tree species just struggled to spread and ended up dying due to competition. So that's why it's really important, right? And this is what we're talking about, the balance of nature. You need this cohabitation, or this not symbiotic relationship. That's the word I want to use. The symbiotic relationship, right? Tree gives house to bird. Bird eats tree seeds, plants that tree far, far away where it can grow into another house for another hornbill or other birds in general. So this is a great story on how you can protect the forest, protect old trees, and protect the hornbill. Allow this natural link of wildlife to move freely. And that's my story about natural balance of the world, I guess.
I had my microphone off because I was looking. All right, or as the headline should read, I forgot the word headline. As the headline should read, hooray for Hornbill Homes Helping Hands.
Woohoo! Where's my crowd cheer? There it is. Where's the other one? No, I can't find it. I've lost it. Okay. I wanted to do the woohoo, but I can't find the woohoo. Whoops. Anyways, alright, my next story is about more birds returning to habitats they haven't been to for a while. This is the puffin chick, which is puffins. I don't know, they kind of, I don't think they're penguins, but they look kind of like penguins, right? They have the same kind of black back, white chest thing that penguins have going on. This is also from the Good News Network. Conservationists were holding their breaths this spring as the last remaining colony of puffins was in danger of being lost altogether. But relief turned to joy as not only did the adult puffins return, a baby was born! Congratulations! For the first time in 30 years, a newborn bird called a puffling was spotted emerging from its cliffside nest along the Dancing Ledge in Dorset, England. last puffin colony on mainland England's southern coast shrank to just 6 birds in recent years, so the National Trust renewed its quest to understand why the birds had been failing to produce chicks. So after spending at least the last 15 weeks installing cameras and monitoring the cliffs, volunteers were left thrilled by the sight of an adult puffins delivering fish to nests hidden deep within a crevice. Seeing the puffling was a great thrill, said Dr. Richard Caldo, who is leading the project. It's the first puffling that's been recorded in Purbeck for a long time. Only 3 breeding pairs remain today, compared to the more than 40 active pairs that were in the 1950s. One puffling alone will save this colony, but one is a whole lot better than none. Dr. Richard said the volunteer tier from Purbeck Natural History Forum spent around 150 hours monitoring the ledges. They observed first fish being taken to the ledge on May 31st. The last fish delivery recorded on July 5th, which put the age of the puffling to be about 38 to 40 days old. Dr. Richard, who holds a PhD in seabird ecology, has nearly 40 years' experience researching and conserving coastal bird populations, said the puffling is expected to leave the ledge soon, and its parents under the cover of darkness, and spend the next several years alone at sea. If it survives, it may return to Purbeck 2 years of age, although puffins do not usually breed until they're around 4 years old. Maybe that's why their population's going down. Now, a lot of them weren't living to be 4. The rare birth comes after the National Trust installed motion sensor trail cameras in March to peer into the puffin's deep crevice, with the aim of establishing whether predators like rats may be the reason new chicks have not appeared in recent years. The cameras, powered by solar panels, do not provide live feeds, so the research team will have to wait until the breeding season ends to retrieve cameras and review the thousands of images captured. Understanding that it's happening inside the nesting crevice is the missing piece of the puzzle, said an excited Ben Cook, project officer of the National Trust in Purbeck. If we can identify the reason why chicks and eggs are being lost, we can begin to explore what conservation measures might help. Puffins are such an iconic bird, we want to do everything in our power to help them survive in Purbeck. And I agree, puffins are pretty iconic. Imagine if you never saw one again. That would be sad. Like the moa bird. The moa bird went extinct because everyone ate them. Ate them all. I guess they must have really been delicious. Luckily, only, I guess, rats are eating puffins, not humans. Give me your alliteration.
Pretty puffins, progenies, pictures proliferate as people take pictures.
Oh, progeny, yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
They're pretty birds.
One day all these sounds will play and then we'll be able to hear them.
This goes on the Galapagos.
They play it all at the same time.
Nope.
All right.
Aren't those some of the birds you see in Galapagos?
Yes, they are.
I think so.
Yes. They kind of look like penguins, but they're not penguins. They're the birds that look like penguins.
I know them very well. I know that they look like they look like if you were making like a design of a bird for a pillow or something, you could probably make a bird look
they are very brandable, which is, it's just a shame that they're, I guess that's why they're trying to save them as well. Sometimes it is about how good you look. Our next segue is a haiku for your good news stories.
What Galapagos birds? All right, so what are we doing?
Haiku.
Haiku. All right. Well, you have to think. We're going to talk about the U.S. dumping shells and the U.S. planting trees. Those are my 2 stories. This is from EN. What is that?
It's me finishing my drink. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They couldn't hear that though. I muted for the stream, but you still heard it.
I don't know what en.as stands for. Probably some technical.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's en.as.com. The U.S. dumped 50,000 tons of oyster shells back into the ocean in 2007, so 19 years ago. Nearly 2 decades later, they have created a thriving habitat for thousands of marine species. This is from David Nelson, writer. What once looked like waste has become a powerful tool for restoring marine life along Florida's Gulf Coast. Between 2000 and 2024, the state returned more than 50,000 tons of recycled oyster and clam shells to the Gulf of Mexico as part of a long-term effort to rebuild damaged oyster reefs and coastal habitats. Rather than coming straight from the ocean, the shells were collected from seafood restaurants and processing plants. Instead of ending up in landfills, the shells were placed in areas where natural oyster reefs have steadily disappeared over the years. It's just common sense, folks. Really, to tell you the truth. You take the stuff from the ocean, right? You put it back. At first, the project drew criticism, where some questioning whether it is amount to dumping waste in the ocean. In its early stages, there was very little evidence that it was working, and even researchers were uncertain whether the effort would succeed. But beneath the surface, critical ecological processes had already begun. And scroll. Once the shells were placed underwater, bacteria quickly colonized their surfaces, forming a thin layer known as biofilm. This is one of the first building blocks of a healthy marine ecosystem because it creates the conditions needed for other organisms to attach, settle, and grow. As the shells slowly broke down, they released calcium into the surrounding water, creating small areas with different chemical composition. These subtle changes helped establish the conditions needed by a wide range of marine organisms that depend on them to survive. Oysters also need our services on which young oysters, known as spat, I didn't know that, can attach and grow. I didn't know that, man. Young oysters are called spat. Interesting. As many natural reefs disappeared over time, much of the seafloor became soft and sandy, making it difficult for new oysters to establish themselves. The recycled shells provided a missing foundation, allowing new oysters reefs to take hold. The restoration process has taken nearly 2 decades, but it has led to a significant recovery in oyster populations. That in turn has helped improve water quality because oysters naturally filter seawater. Researchers have also linked the restored reefs or reductions in harmful algae blooms and clear water that support a wider variety of marine plants and animals. You know where I'm going with the algae comment, right? Maybe they ought to put it in a reflecting pool. Yeah, let's dump seashells in there. Might as well. You know, the reflecting pool has been there for I don't even know how long, and nobody's ever cared about it, ever, and all of a sudden people care about it. And I don't care about it. I will never care about a stupid body, a reflecting pool. It doesn't mean anything to me. Anyway, there's your good story. Your good story about trying to take care of our oceans. Let's have a haiku.
Yeah, this was a thing that was actually happening when I was in school with the was it with oysters? It might have also been with oysters in Chesapeake Bay. They were also just getting a bunch of bundles, and they're just throwing a bunch of bundles. It might have been oysters. It was some sort of mussel clam thing. But they were just throwing. Yeah, I'm just saying that's what they're doing. You get a bundle of them. Yeah, you get like a huge bundle. I don't know, 50 of them. Yeah. Then you throw them into the water in little groups, and then they spread out. So.
No.
And they are really useful because they clean the water. That's what they keep the water clean.
Right.
I had no time to write a haiku.
You got haiku. Oh, really?
I was doing that thing you told me to do with the verifying our age on Twitch. Story. I'll write 2
next
haikus.
Story, Dan. I will do next story. Well, we'll read this one a little bit slower. It's a little bit longer. All right. Economic Times of India, or IndiaTimes.com has a story because I don't know. I went to the India Times story and it wouldn't give me a reading page, so I had to get the secondary source to back the original source and use their story. Isn't that interesting? So they didn't give me a reading page. It's about the 1930s and the Dust Bowl. The 1930s Dust Bowl happened because of overplanting and people just planting the same crop over and over again, never learning how to plant things in rows properly, all kinds of
rotational stuff, irrigation.
Yeah. Plus, the Great Plains were never meant for farming. They just weren't. Anyway, so we planted trees in the 1930s. The Dust Bowl devastated America, but Franklin D. Roosevelt's massive tree planting project, well, let's finish the story. It just says ET online. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s is remembered one of the darkest environmental chapters in U.S. history. Years of severe drought combined with intensive farming practices stripped away fertile topsoil across the Great Plains. Yep, I just said all that, didn't I? Powerful winds that carry loose soil for hundreds of miles, burying farms, destroying crops, and forcing thousands of families to leave their homes. And that's where a lot of people went to if they saw the grapes of wrath. They went to California. But the disaster also inspired one of the most ambitious conservation projects the United States has ever undertaken. The project to protect vulnerable farmland from future dust storms, President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched a massive tree planting campaign across the Great Plains. Nearly 9 decades later, many of those trees are still standing, helping farms withstand harsh weather while supporting wildlife and improving soil health. According to the U.S. Forest Service, these shelter beds continue to be an important part of the Great Plains landscape. The Dust Bowl was not caused by drought alone. According to the U.S. National Drought Mitigation Center, the environmental disaster resulted from a combination of prolonged drought and poor land management across the Great Plains. For decades, millions of acres of native prairie grass had been plowed to expand farmland. Those deep-rooted grasses had naturally held the soil in place. Once they were removed, the exposed land became vulnerable to erosion. Yes, I'm going to go, I bought me a farm, and now my farm is in Kansas. That was a saying or something like that. I'm still here, but my farm is in Kansas. Yeah. When the drought struck near in the early 1930s, the dry soil quickly turned into dust. Strong winds lifted enormous amounts of topsoil in the air, created massive black blizzards with darkened skies and devastated farms across the central United States. It was truly horrifying, I can imagine. You have no air to breathe. Entire communities struggled to survive while many families migrated in search of work and a better future. Roosevelt's answer was to plant millions of trees. The environmental crisis convinced Franklin Delano Roosevelt a large-scale soil conservation was urgently needed. In 1935, as part of the New Deal, the federal government launched a Prairie States Forestry Project, or the PSFP. The goal was simple but ambitious: plant long rows of trees stretching from the Texas Panhandle toward Canada to reduce wind speed and stabilize farmland. Research conducted by the U.S. Forest Service and the University of Nebraska shows the project ultimately planted around 220 million tree seedlings. Those trees created approximately 18,600 miles of shelter beds across 240,000 acres and nearly 30,000 farms, making one of the largest afforestation projects in American history. The project was often referred to as the Great Wall of Trees, but its name was somewhat misleading. Rather than creating one continuous forest stretching from Texas to Canada, which not a thing, it wouldn't be one continuous forest. That would be silliness. Thinking that you could do that. I mean, how long would that take, right? That's a lot of land. Anyway, rather than creating one of these forests stretching from Texas to Canada, the government established thousands of carefully designed tree belts on privately owned farms across 6 Great Plains states. The projects also faced criticism, just like our dumping the oyster shells back in the water. Faced criticism. Some question whether federal money. Here we go again. Some question whether federal money should be spent on conservation work on private land. They never have any problem with federal money going to huge corporations, though. That's never a problem. Others doubted trees could survive or provide meaningful protection to dry land. That would make any sense. Although the government supplied seedlings, technical expertise, and planting assistance, farmers themselves became the long-term caretakers of the shelter beds. How do shelter beds work? Unlike a solid wall, shelter beds are designed to slow wind without completely blocking it. They act as semi-permeable barriers, allowing part of the wind to pass through while reducing its speed and redirecting stronger gusts. The design helps avoid the damaging turbulence that can come from behind solid barriers. As trees mature, the protected area becomes larger. According to the guidance from the U.S. Forest Service, crop protection is generally strongest between 3 and 10 times a windbreak's height on the downwind side, although benefits may extend up to 15 times the tree height. Modern estimates from the U.S. Department of Agriculture suggest that well-designed windbreaks can improve the net crop yields up to 20%. Yes! Don't just cut down all your trees to make a field. You got to leave some up at the end for windbreaks, because you don't want your crops growing off the field. Why these tree beds are still protecting farms today? Shelter beds were created specifically to protect agriculture, not to serve as commercial forests, according to USDA National Forestry Center. Reducing wind speeds with shelter beds helps. Here's a they have the bullet points here. It helps reduce topsoil erosion, preserve soil mixture, protect crops from damaging winds, reduce snow drifting during winter, improve growing conditions for crops, provide shade for livestock, create habitat for birds, pollinators, and other wildlife. Many of these shelter beds are now 90 years old, and they continue to deliver environmental benefits.
Almost 100 years.
Trees remain available infrastructure across the Great Plains because they not only reduce erosion but also support biodiversity, store carbon, strengthen landscapes against increasingly frequent droughts and extreme weather linked to climate change. Many of the original shelter beds are disappearing despite their importance. Data centers got to go up. Don't forget that. Hey, got to put data center. Cut down the damn trees. Data center, damn it. We need to know. We need to generate some AI pictures of children. Despite their importance, researchers warn numerous original shelter beds have removed the damage and neglect over decades. U.S. Forest Service notes that no nationwide monitoring system currently tracks the condition of these historic tree belts, making it difficult to understand how many remain healthy. Well, you can do that. Just go out and do it. Pay somebody to keep track of them. To preserve these conservation legacies, researchers are digitizing historical planning records, photographs, maps, and original projects documents stored at the USDA National Forestry Center. The work could help guide future restoration efforts while documenting one of America's largest environmental projects. And there's a lot more to the story. Not really. That's it. That's basically it. I hope you got a couple haikus now or something.
Yes, I do.
I'm out of things for you. Okay.
You don't need to keep reading it.
Okay.
All right.
I did it.
This is my first one. Silent shells whisper. Ocean's guardians of peace. Save them. Save the sea. You always have to deliver a haiku like you're just casting a spell. Barren fields whisper. Time bends to the hopeful rain. Life stirs in the dust. It's poetry. It's supposed to be serious. You know. Gotta click. We should add that. We should add like the poetry slam clicks or whatever. You know, when they snap their fingers instead of clapping, they go. I can't do it on my left hand at all. Yeah, not really. Let's do our next segue.
Hey.
It is an accurate metaphor simile, in which I'm going to be talking about moms playing football, also known as soccer. And what else was the other story? Oh yes, European decline in air hazards, I guess. Cleaner air in Europe. The first story is coming from Canada by Gemma Karsten Smith on the CBC. Oh, sorry, punched my mic. Canadian researcher Margie Davenport is helping pregnant and postpartum soccer players keep playing the game they love. No, I don't want to hear the audio version. A Canadian researcher is helping pregnant and another thing about before coffee, by the way. If you want an audio version of an article that is not generated by AI, that's what we do, okay? We're not AI. A Canadian researcher is helping pregnant and postpartum soccer players keep playing the game they love. Margie Davenport, a professor in the University of Alberta's Faculty of Kinesiology, Sports and Recreation, is one of the experts behind a new set of FIFA decision guides aimed at helping athletes figure out how to play safe and train safely during their pregnancy. Researchers show that staying physically active during pregnancy can actually reduce complications such as gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, and hypertension. That's right, you're not supposed to be sitting around eating food and watching television. You should actually keep moving so your muscles are ready for the pregnancy. It's also linked to lower rates of depression, probably because you weren't doing nothing for 9 months, right? I feel like that would make you pretty depressed. No, don't do anything. You're pregnant. Actually, I would like to live life still. There are guidelines for general public on how much and what kind of exercise is safe, but those aren't always useful for high-level soccer players, Davenport said. Athletes have always said they don't know how to take the very vague information and apply it on a day-to-day basis on the field, she said. Davenport, a mom of 2 and former synchronized swimmer for the Canadian national team, started working with FIFA about 3 years ago to help create educational content for athletes around fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum period. She saw gaps in information available for elite players when it came to physical activity, and working with experts in Hamilton, Ontario, and the United Kingdom, she analyzed existing scientific research on what's safe during and after pregnancy. The research team also looked at what barriers a high-level athlete might face, and used that information to create new guidelines. When we talk about athletes, typically what we see is the most athletes are told to reduce their volume of activity across pregnancy, Davenport said. Many athletes so strongly identify as an athlete, you take that sport away from them, it can cut a lot of stress, anxiety, uncertainty in terms of what they can do, and so helping to maintain their training in pregnancy supports their physical and mental health. Using the tools, the athletes answer a series of questions that help assess any health conditions they may be dealing with and evaluate their mental health, fear of movement, and pelvic health. Then, working with their doctors, coaches, and other support staff, a player can use the guidelines flow charts to determine the physical activities might be right for them and how exercises can be modified. The new guides aren't linear, don't include timelines for when an athlete can or should be limiting or returning to training, Davenport noted, treating every player's experience as unique, which is how all healthcare should be. It should be very unique to each person because nobody is the same. That's reflective of what pregnancy and postpartum are like. It's a very fluid time where you might feel phenomenal one day and not so phenomenal the next. While there have been many stories in recent years of professional athletes having kids, then returning to the field, court, or ice just months later, that's not always the case. What we don't hear enough about are the women who haven't been able to return to sport because of the lack of support, because baby's not sleeping and you feel terrible, Davenport said. So this guide is really designed to help all women give a guide to be able to figure out how to return in a safe and evidence-based way. Davenport and her colleagues worked with amateur, semi-professional, professional players, coaches, and support staff and doctors around the world to develop these guidelines. The next step of the project will be go and test the tools and see how effective they are supporting athletes during and after pregnancy. Davenport is already working on 5 other sports federations, including Women's Tennis Association, to adapt the guides for different sports. Women's professional sports became more mainstream and more athletes became moms, these kind of tools will be increasingly important, she said. I think that we have had for a really long time this idea that women are quite fragile during pregnancy. Yeah, tell that to the hunter and gatherers 5,000 years ago. I'm sure they were just, hide her in a cave. Don't pick up any berries. You might kill the baby. And have had a lot of caution about what or should be done in terms of training, Davenport said. But over the last, especially 5 or 6 years, they've had an explosion of athletes who are returning or staying in sport while they're pregnant, returning to it postpartum. We also see an explosion of research that's come out to support the types of training that they were doing. So the need for this type of work has always been there, but it's become glaringly obvious over the last couple of years. So there you go, some doctors doing their job to make sure people stay healthy and stay active, because nothing's more depressing than sitting around and doing nothing for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, competing in sports while you're carrying a baby is like, having an extra person on your team. Or it could be just having another person on your back, right? Like, I'm trying to play. I'll use Serena Williams winning the Australian Open while she was pregnant.
Yeah.
But she won the Australian Open while she was pregnant. It's like carrying another person with you while you're playing tennis, right? Like, I got this person on me too. Extra handy.
Pretty cool. But yeah, we're not saying
oh my God!
They're not saying you're not fragile, but the idea that, women can't do anything or they'll break their back is just not scientific at all.
More flexible when you're pregnant. So that could be a help. Yeah, all right.
What were those classes
Although
called?
I'm not sure you're...
The classes
Lamaze?
you go to? Yeah. That's what those were for, right? Those were for keeping pregnant women active so that when it's time to give birth, they're actually physically ready for it, not just,
Oz was fun, and they want you to practice natural childbirth without medication, but having... All I know is that your mom went to the hospital, and the first thing she wanted was an epidural. Because
yeah. Stab my spine, please. Thank you. Right.
That's what traveler sounds good. Like an epidural. That is just the shit. Anyway.
Easy for you to say, lady, you're not having the baby. Right, next story.
I was sitting there the whole time going, I want that epidural if that was me the whole time. Nice epidural here.
You know what? Can you also give me some morphine? All right, next story is from Europe's air quality. This is from the Good News Network.
Air quality.
Air quality continues to improve across Europe, with the emissions from the most major pollutants declining by significant amounts. The overall picture remains positive, according to the annual assessment report on European air quality 2025, released by the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service, CAMS or CAMS, an EU program that has monitored changing air pollution levels for over 10 years. Air quality continues to improve, with the emissions of key air pollutants declining across the continent as a result of long-standing air quality policies, technological improvements in cleaner industrial and transport systems, said in the report. In the past decades, CAMS monitoring shows that emissions of sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides have fallen by approximately 3 to 5% per year, which it's been 10, so that's like 30 to 50% a year they've reduced the pollution in the air. The most significant reductions have been achieved in the industry like smokestack emissions and road transport like car emissions. Since 2015, industrial emissions of sulfur oxides have fallen by 59%, while nitrogen oxide emissions from the industry have declined by 39%. That's a crazy amount, right? This is science. Okay, so a 0.1 percentage point is a lot, So almost over 50% in some cases is crazy amount of reduction. Right. The road transport emission
is a reference, right?
Yes.
It's always a reference. It's never a real number that you can put your finger on.
I'm sure they'll give us some numbers soon. Road transport emissions have fallen substantially, with reductions of 40% for nitrogen oxide and 34% for fine particle matters, PM 2.5. That's stuff that gets into your lungs and then gives you a bunch of health problems. Yay! Right. So I think, I'm not sure what this they don't give me the X and Y, what the X and Y mean, but it looks like everything started at the baseline in which they started recording this, because it's only happened since 2015, right? So they started recording not nitrogen, sulfur, and carbon dioxide in the different particles, the 2.5 and the 10 particles in the air CO2. In 2015, and then every single one of them has gone down except for, it looks like, nitrogen trihydrogen. I'm actually not sure what NH3 is, but I think it's not an oxide.
NH3?
Yeah, NH3, nitrogen trihydrogen.
That's nitrogen.
Either way, that has gone up a little bit, and that went lower, but it's everything else is going down. It has a downward trajectory as of right now anyways. There was actually a huge decline from 2016 to 2018. I should say 2016 to 2020, it made a huge, just almost sharp decline. The CAMS air quality report provides a clear...
NH3 is a chemical symbol for ammonia.
Ammonia, okay. I was like, I knew it was something. Ammonia has gone down the least, but everything else is at a sharp decline. The CAMS air quality report provides a clear indication that air quality policies are working. At the same time, a deeper dive into the report demonstrates that year-to-year variations in weather conditions can significantly influence pollution levels, even as long-term trends continue to improve. CAMS is one of the 6 services that forms Copernicus, the European Union's Earth Observation Program, that studies the environment for ultimate benefit of all European citizens. The CAMS website says they will continue to only identify where pollution occurred in the 120 cities across Europe, but also the factors that caused it. Yeah, so I guess they know now they need to look into what's happening with ammonia, because ammonia did not go down.
Ammonia, the best fertilizer in nature.
Oh. Maybe that's why. Maybe a lot of people are using ammonia to fertilize, and it's still polluting the air.
Yeah, it just naturally occurs.
And if
naturally occurs with degradation.
I went to the actual report just to see if they had any more graphs, and they do have a graph of concentration of the molecules. What are they called again? I forgot what they're called. The fine particle matter. So a large concentration of fine particle matter, and sadly, is in Germany. No, that's not Germany. What's next to Germany? Poland. Poland has a lot of it. There's a couple. It's mostly Eastern Europe. So Eastern Europe still needs to work on its fine particle matter reduction. There is some in the northern, going to the west, like here in the Netherlands and Belgium, and also northern Germany. But mostly it's like the hard concentrations of it is in Eastern Europe and northern Italy for some reason. I'm not sure what's happening. And maybe it gets stuck on the Alps. All the particles get stuck on the Alps and they don't go anywhere. They don't diffuse. But looking at the time on time graphs, just everything has gone down. Even if ammonia has gone down as much as the other stuff, it's still gone down. It's still reduced since 2015. So there's my story on clean air.
Yeah, my metaphor. Since we looked up ammonia, that's my metaphor. My metaphor, because smelling salts, right, are made from ammonia. Have you ever used smelling salts? Like you see a boxer knocked out in the ring, they pull a little capsule out, they put it under his nose. That's ammonia. It's like, woo! That just gets your nose going, right? You've done that. Or just open a bottle of ammonia, you will knock you out from the smell. So it's a metaphor for waking the fuck up. Like smelling salts, waking up. A family person, ammonia is used to describe a sudden growth in reality or gut shock that clears away mental fog. In other words, wake up, everybody. The world is under threat of global warming. Stop pretending that the billionaires are going to take care of you. It's not going to happen. All right.
You fool!
You fool, exactly. Hey, we could have done that one question about fog. What was the question? And then Hollywood Squares, smelly fog. He said the answer.
What does smog? Smog stand for?
He said smelly fog, knowing it was the wrong answer. He knew that was the wrong answer, right? Because they give him wrong answers. They give him two answers: the right answer or the wrong answer, right? Or they can make a joke. Yeah. And he gives them the wrong answer. And he goes, "You fool! Everybody knows it's smoke and fog." Anyway, that was.
Next segue is alliteration headline for your good news stories.
Good news. We're gonna talk about. Well, we'll do the squirrel story last. Wind turbines. Everybody's talking about. Them wind turbine blades just create landfill problems, and actually that's true. But there's a company is going to repurpose at least the fiber on the inside. Of course, you can repurpose the fiberglass. Anyway, right? This is basically just fiber. It's glass. It's fiber. It's glass. Repurposed. Ecoportal.net has a story. A wind turbine blade can run beyond 170 feet, and when it wears out, a Tennessee company breaks the whole thing down to recover the clean glass fiber the industry once paid to bury. Imagine that, 170 feet, more than that, right? Because it wraps around. It's buried in the ground, just glass underground. It's basically stupid. I mean, it is just sand. But let's get to the story. Picture a blade taller than a 15-story building. That's pretty big. Curved and white, leaning against the sky, spent two decades slicing through. When wind turbine reaches the end of its working life, that blade has to go somewhere. For years, the answer was a landfill in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, why is that always the answer? Just zero creativity.
Yeah. It felt permanent and a little embarrassing for an industry built on clean energy, but something has changed. The surprise is hiding inside the blade itself. A modern wind turbine blade is, by almost any measure, one of the most remarkable objects humans make at scale. Most stretch beyond 170 feet from root to tip. On land-based turbine, the largest offshore models are now exceeding 350 feet. So long that the full rotor sweeps of a diameter wider than a football field end to end. There we go with the football field measurement. Well, 340 feet, that would be, right? 350 feet. A football field is only 300 feet. Or plus 20 yards, which is a hair amount. 360 feet, actually. Anyway, each one is built to flex in gale force winds without snapping, to spin year after year through ice, salt air, and baking summer heat. That toughness is the whole point. It's also the problem. The same composite materials that make the blade nearly indestructible in the air make it impossible to break down on the ground. Traditional recycling equipment struggles to process it, and with the first generation of wind farms now hitting 20 to 25 years of service, the blades are coming down by the thousands. A wave of retirements no one fully planned for. Wind energy grew fast in the United States, and machines installed during the first boom are aging out all at once. Tens of thousands of turbines globally are expected to reach end of life by 2030, according to the market analysts tracking the sector. Each turbine carries multiple blades. Depending on size, each blade can weigh several to around 10 tons. Landfall was the default. Workers would saw blade into sections, haul them out to flatbed trucks across state lines, and bury them in long, narrow trenches cut in open ground. Photographs of these trenches, rows and white blade sections sticking out of the dirt like bones of enormous fish, spread wildly and made a lot of people uncomfortable. The industry knew it had a blind spot. What the blade is actually made of? To understand why engineers got excited, you have to look inside the blade itself. Typical turbine blade is roughly half glass fiber by weight, with carbon fiber used selectively in higher performance models, bonded together with tough resins to create shells stronger than steel at a fraction of the mass. That glass fiber is the key. In the same material used in high performance boat hulls, aircraft interiors, and premium car panels. New glass fiber is expensive to produce, energy intensive to manufacture, and increasingly in demand as construction and automotive industries look for lighter, stronger materials. A used turbine blade, in other words, is not a pile of garbage. It is a stockpile of raw material that industry has been paying to bury instead of selling. The moment engineers started treating it that way, the numbers changed completely. The dollar figure hiding in every, I'm going to stop reading the headings. A Knoxville, Tennessee company called Carbon Rivers, backed by the U.S. Department of Energy's Wind Energy Technologies Office, look for Trump to shut that down as soon as possible. As soon as he finds out they're saving energy, he's going to shut it down because he's working for Russia. Anyway, the this Knoxville company, Carbon Rivers, has commercialized a process that recovers clean, mechanically intact glass fiber using a pyrolysis method. The process produces high-quality recovered fiber at a level that allows it to go directly into new composite manufacturing. The fiber can supply car panels, building materials, and new turbine blades themselves. Carbon Rivers has already upcycled a few thousand metric tons and is building capacity to take over 50,000 metric tons annually. The vast majority of wind turbines, mass sheet, steel, copper, and concrete is already commercially recyclable, meaning the blade is the last frontier. A pile of old blades in a field is no longer a liability waiting for a landfill permit. Engineers now treat it as a feedstock worth competing for. Yes, raw material for our new venture. Yes, repurposing. The 3 R's: repurposing, recycle, repair. The shift in thinking has already begun to change. New blades are designed before they ever spin. Major turbine manufacturer announced zero blade to landfill targets by 2030. That's only 3.5 years, my friends. We're almost done with the 20s. That's right. We're 2/3 of the way through the 20s. Future blades are being built with thermoplastic resins that can be reheated and reshaped, making end-of-life recovery far more straightforward. Recycling still costs more per ton than landfilling, where landfill remains legal, and closing that gap is a real challenge in the next decade. Yes. Bumping things in the ground is still cheaper, I suppose. Golly, how about that? Just dumping things and forgetting about them is so much cheaper, isn't it? Yeah, how about that? That's not really a fucking revelation. Every blade that comes down today represents a choice between a landfill trench and a factory feedstock. A financial case for the second option grows stronger every year. The same white fiber, cleaned and pressed, could form the door panel of a car, the hull of a boat, or the wing of a next turbine. The wing of the next turbine blade, I should say, actually. The blade that spent 20 years making clean energy is not finished yet. So blah 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 blah. Article end. The end. The end. The end. Let's have us a. I guess you did. You get with it again?
Yeah. Blah blah blah. He says.
Yeah, that's the end. I mean, we can read the rest. Read the rest.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
What's happening? Rivers pointed out us to the rivers. In February 2026, the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation ordered the company to stop accepting material at the processing site to clear everything within 1 year. Inspectors visiting but reported shredded fibers still escaping the environment. Also reported the company had not demonstrated a viable market for recovered fiber. Anyway, that's just some bullshit trying to piss all over the parade. That's all it was, right? It wasn't worth reading. It really wasn't. It was like, oh yeah, well, somebody hates it. Okay, fuck them. That's their fucking problem. It ain't mine. Right?
Windless ways, waste, whatnot, weary.
Don't forget the what?
Wackiness. There we go. It is. It is weary. It is weary wackiness, actually. Mm-hmm. Oh, what do we do with this? Oh no, throw it in a hole. Yeah, okay.
Wait, somebody's trying to solve the problem. Let's attack those people that are trying to solve the problem.
Yeah. So weary of that kind of attitude, for sure.
The whole debate on global warming is all. You know, them scientists are getting paid to come up with those conclusions. I'm like, the oil company scientists aren't getting paid to come up with conclusions.
You think people are just going to like research stuff without being able to pay their bills? Oh, sorry, my family. I can't pay for your new book bag because I'm researching why wind turbines are not being salvaged properly. And I don't get paid for that, so no money. I guess we're all gonna starve to death.
I'm so tired of stupid people. Their motivation is, I'll only do it for money. So they think everybody's motivation is, I'll only do it for money.
And also, if you don't want people to be, I guess, motivated by money, maybe you should be communist.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole problem, right?
Yeah.
The money being the motivator.
They call themselves capitalists, but then they get mad. They get mad because people take money. And they go, you're a pep. The same people are like, Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. Oh, wow. Is Bernie Sanders against millionaires? No, he's against billionaires. That's 1,000 times worse. And being a millionaire is nothing anymore. That means you just mean you have equity in your house. That's all that means.
Yeah.
Plus, Bernie wrote a couple of books. And did you want him to write a book for free and give it away for free? He's not a communist. He's not a capitalist. He just said there's too many rich people and they have too much money. Actually, I don't mind there being. Everybody should be rich. I would like everybody to be a rich person. That's great.
Yeah.
By rich, you don't mean money.
Of course, if we're all rich, then money doesn't mean anything. Because the whole, in my opinion, the whole reason billionaires exist is so somebody can be like, I have the most money. I swear that's the only reason billionaires exist. Because there's people out there who wouldn't be like, I have all the money.
74% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That means one catastrophe, one health problem, one car accident, and they're bankrupt. They're done. It's over, right?
The keyword there, accident.
Accident, just something that ain't even their fault. Somebody runs a red light, their fucking light. Oh, well, yeah, you got insurance. Bull fucking shit. Insurance does not replace a paycheck. All right,
my favorite thing, the story. Okay, go ahead.
Washington State, home to the world's first squirrel bridges, which is also the subject of our short film today. Good.com. I found another story that does good news stories, so that's nice to know. Cameron Baker has the story. That is very, it's kind of an older story. Every year, an estimated 41 million squirrels become roadkill. I love me some squirrels. I got a squirrel story from 2 days ago.
We know you love squirrels. That's why the emotes on this channel are squirrels. Acorns is our currency on this channel.
I'm sitting on a porch watching my YouTube videos or whatever the hell, totally oblivious to everything. And there's a squirrel. There's a black walnut tree branch right next to my front porch, right? So there's a squirrel sitting on that branch, just making that duck noise.
Yeah.
Just making that noise over and over again, right at me. Like, oh, let's stop, just cracking that noise. He's like 10 feet away, sitting on a branch. I look up at him and say, "Do you want something?" He looks at me. He's got a nut in his mouth. He runs down the branch and jumps out of the porch, lands on the railing right in front of me, like that. And he's still got the nut in his mouth. And he just wanted me to see us jump. I don't know what he wanted, but he didn't stop squawking at me until I looked at him and said, "Do you want something?" And then he just jumped into the porch right in front of me, like right on the table. I was like, all excited. The squirrels are not afraid of me. They're not afraid of me. I mean, they'll run, but they don't just, they come right up to me. And because I just sit there, I don't do anything. All right, back to the squirrels, which a lot of people eat, which I'm suspicious of some of my neighbors. But anyway, every year, an estimated 40 million squirrels become roadkill. It's a scurry between busy streets to find food sources. This would not stand for Amos Peters, a Longview, Washington architect who rose to local fame for his 1963 creation, the Nutty Narrows Squirrel Pedestrian Bridge. Peters and his colleagues at the Park Plaza office building, along with Longview's Olympia Way, often witnessed area squirrels being run over by cars. One day, he found a dead squirrel with a nut in his mouth, and a group of colleagues decided it was finally time to intervene. Together, they came up with the idea of a squirrel bridge, forming a committee to ask the city's council's blessing. The first Nutty Narrows Bridge was 60 feet in length and made from aluminum and fire hose, costing just $1,000. That seems a little pricey. I guess fire hose is expensive, though. Soon the bridge became a tourist attraction. The city began receiving reports of the mammals successfully crossing the road and even escorting their young and teaching them the ropes. Yeah, squirrels are exciting to watch. I tell you what, they live a full life. If you think squirrels are boring, man, they fucking live a full life. After receiving a worldwide newspaper coverage, Peters even began receiving fan mail. A blog post from the city Longview reported, one man wrote, "Little men take time to cater to big people who might do them good. Only big men pause to aid little creatures," the blog post said. That's wisdom. Yeah. I'm going to help the big man because he gives me money. Oh, no. Let's just help little people because little people actually need it. That's who actually needs help. The inspiration continued. The total of 9 squirrel bridges now in operation along.
Oh. No, come back. Where'd he go? Did I disconnect? Not this again. What happened? Let's go back over here for a sec while I figure out why the Discord just kicked him out. Give me a sec. If it will ever let me. Hello? Discord. What are you doing? I think it did that thing again where it put me in the AFK channel even though I'm here talking and everything. And for some reason my Discord puts me in the AFK channel even though I'm making noises. Alright. Yeah, reconnect please. Yeah, put me in the sleepy room. Hello?
At people speeding on
Hello?
my street just for that reason. Just
Hello?
for the squirrel. Hello,
Hey,
what?
hello? I disconnected.
What? I hear
You
you.
have to read. Yeah, I'm saying you have to read from the part where you're talking about helping the little people. That's the last part I heard before it disconnected me.
Okay. One man wrote, "Little men take time to cater to big people who might
Yes.
do them good. Only
Yeah.
big men pause to aid little creatures." Okay. The blog post said, a total of 9 squirrels now in operation along Bill. The original Nutty Narrows Bridge still resides on Olympia Way, though it was taken down and repaired in 1983 after 20 years of use. And I made the comment that, yeah, in 1983, I had 20 years of use myself. According to Longview, Chippendale and Mickey Mouse, Chippendale are cartoon character chipmunks, and Mickey Mouse, chipmunks are squirrels, by the way. Mickey Mouse visited all the way from Disneyland, along with 300 children, to rededicate the bridge. Just 4 years later, Peters died on a 10-foot wooden and a 10-foot wooden sculpture is added to the original bridge to honor his dedication to the project.
Aw, that's so sweet.
9 other bridges are now scattered.
The squirrel hero.
Yes, he's the squirrel statue. He's Squirrel Man. Squirrel Man. 9 other bridges are now scattered throughout Longview. Now expanded to the neighboring city of Duval, where locals are now have a bridge of their own. The latest bridge was spearheaded by Duval resident Nikita Kozhenkin, who lives next to the crossing and watched countless squirrels run for their lives across the road. It's a major hazard for all wild animals, the road crossings, Kozhenkin told King 5 News. He added that the bridge isn't just good for wildlife, it helps drivers as people often swerve when they spot a squirrel on the road. And like I said, you swerve, or you hit a car in oncoming traffic, or you lose control of your car and flip over, or you slam your brakes and swerve at the same time, which is never a good idea. But it's just a reflex. It's not something you plan. What inspired Kozhenkin to act was a story similar to that of Peters. A young Duval man saw a Douglas squirrel struck and killed by a driver in the street, still holding a hazelnut in her mouth that she had taken from Kozhenkin's yard. All she wanted was to carry that hazelnut across the street and hide it somewhere. Is that really too much to ask? Kozhenkin wrote on his website, sharing that he tearfully buried the squirrel in the flower pot in his yard. I do cry for my squirrels when they pass away. I do feel bad. I do love my squirrels. They bring me joy. They do. Douglas squirrels are small squirrels native and endemic to the Pacific Northwest coastal areas. In fact, they are not found anywhere else in the world. They need protection, as do all animals and all squirrels. Kozhenkin then spoke with members of the local city council, the mayor, and the director of public works to figure out how they get a bridge installed. It would require a right-of-way permit and approval from neighboring property owners, along with a licensed contractor and arborist approved by the city. He contacted approximately 80 engineers and found success with Andre Pilot. After a few more rounds of administrative engineering reviews, he was victorious, and then Douglas B. Squirrel Memorial Bridge, dedicated to his fallen bushy-tailed friend, was a reality.
Oh my God, that's tear-jerking.
I know, right? I'm touched. The bridge itself is 80 feet long and about 16 feet off the ground. Less ornate than the original Nutty Narrows bridge, this one is simple rope connected by 2 trees. After a bit of early skepticism, it seems to be working. After a week, the squirrels discovered the bridge and now cross frequently. He even set up a trail camera to capture footage of the squirrels on the bridge, sharing on social media. Duval's new squirrel bridge joins the many in Longview, along with several others that have popped up in Europe over the years. It is a simple solution developed over 60 years ago. One squirrel enthusiast of all stripes can get behind. Imagine a world where every tree on every street is connected by bridges where millions of crossings span the sky and habitats are safe and connected. How wonderful would that be? Kozhenkin wrote on his website. There's your squirrel stories. I know you got a squirrel haiku.
Well, I have a haiku, but it's not using the word squirrel.
Oh.
It's actually using the word.
Oh, or the headline should read. Sorry.
So not haiku, alliteration. An alliteration.
Right.
That's what I'm doing. We've got those bouncy, brilliant bridges over that hideous, hateful highway. There we go. Highways are hideous. No, I mean they're not. There's nothing beautiful about a highway, in my opinion.
I like the picture of a nice road stretching out into the horizon, into the hills. I think that's a nice photograph.
Yeah, you know why it's beautiful? Because of the trees on the side and the mountains in the background and the nature.
They can be the desert. They can be the desert.
Oh,
but still, it's kind of a nice. The road is a romantic idea. You can't get me off that.
All right. Well, I don't think squirrels feel the same way, I guess.
Squirrels don't think about it. Squirrels think about the next nut. That's what they're thinking about.
That's what she said.
All right.
All right. Let's go to the next segue.
Oh. I wasn't even going to go there, but you did. All right.
Limerick! See, you got a limerick again. What the hell? For my culture news.
Limerick.
I'll try to read this story really slowly. It's about the Beatles. I'm sure you can write a limerick about that.
That's easy.
Also, hello Nicole and hello Omlin. Thank you for stopping by for our very heartwarming squirrel story. This is our culture news coming out of The Independent by Rosin O'Connor. Beatles fans on a tour of Liverpool got the experience of a lifetime when Sir Paul McCartney pulled up beside their bus at a traffic light. The chance encounter was made all the more surreal when it emerged that McCartney was on a video call with his former bandmate Ringo Starr. The Hey Jude Starr waved to fans while passengers took photos until the lights changed. It was surreal, Neil Morton, who has driven the magical mystery tour bus around Beatles hotspots in Liverpool for the last 2 years, told the BBC. I had pulled up at the traffic lights on Hope Street when should I see Sir Paul and Ringo on FaceTime? And then there's a picture of him leaning out the door, waving, and then holding his phone with Ringo, wearing his sunglasses, because he's always wearing his sunglasses. He added, the passengers could not believe it. The tour guide said that while no one got a chance to speak with McCartney, it wasn't his first encounter with Starr. He met the Wings singer when he used to work at the Cavern Club. We were told not to take photos, but I managed to sneak one, he told the BBC. Beatlemania is renewed frenzy as fans wait for Sam Mendes' anticipated 4-film series about the Fab Four with actors Paul Mescal, Harrison Dickinson, Barry Keoghan, and Joseph Quinn starring as McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison. Interesting, they just said Starr instead of Ringo Starr. They just said Starr and George Harrison, respectively. So Paul Mescal is playing Paul McCartney. Harrison Dickinson is playing John Lennon. Barry Keoghan is playing Ringo Starr, and Joseph Quinn is playing George Harrison. Interesting. They all look very different from each other. Honestly, I want to say only... Which one is it? Barry Keoghan kind of looks like a person from Liverpool, if I'm allowed to say that. If you know, you know. That guy looks like he's from Liverpool. Anyways, other cast members include Amy Lou Wood as Patty Boyd, Saoirse Ronan as Linda McCartney, Mia McKenna Bruce as Maureen Starkey, and Anna Soy as Yoko Ono. So they also have the paired them up with their love interest, so to say. And scroll. A bunch of advertisements. Past few years have also seen the release of a number of Beatles-related projects, including McCartney's latest solo album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane, Peter Jackson's 2021 documentary on Get Back, and the announcement of a new dedicated Beatles experience at the former Apple Corps headquarters at 3 Savile Row, London. Okay, so if you're a Beatles fan and you haven't gone there, go there now. Scheduled to launch in 2027, I guess it's not open yet. The project, titled The Beatles at 3 Savile Row, has the backing of McCartney and Starr, along with London Mayor Sadiq Khan. In 2023, the Beatles topped the charts with what was billed as their final single, Now and Then, which was nominated for a Grammy Award for Record of the Year and Best Rock Performance. McCartney, who knew his bandmates from school when they went on to achieve global fame, was in town to present actor and producer Stephen Graham with an award at his performing arts school. And it just happened to be a bus going by at the same light. Graham is being presented with a companionship of the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts, LIPA, by McCartney and a co-founder of the school. Isn't that sweet? He opened up a performing arts school and is in Liverpool. Was that enough time? Do I need to keep reading for your limerick? Oh, right. Actually, let me read more about this school. Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. Tell me about this school. It was opened in 1996 by also Mark Featherstone, Whitty, and Paul McCartney. And it's been running ever since, so it's as old as me, giving people chances to perform, I guess, on the stage and for people.
I got my limerick, and it's related to the actual album because it references 3 songs from Magical Mystery. There you go. So I know my Beatles. I know my Beatles albums.
All right,
Here's my limerick. The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the fool on the bus sees Sir Paul sitting down. Yes, the walrus was Paul, but that is not all. Saying hello goodbye to Ringo on the way to Liverpool town.
That was a long last line.
I had to rhyme Liverpool town, and I was like, and the fool on the hill, hello goodbye. There's another song. He was talking to Ringo. I worked that in there. Anyway, maybe I could have made it shorter. You did give me enough time. Yippee! Alrighty. History. Oh, more spin, I guess.
What?
And all done for today. Spinning. The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the fool on the bus sees Sir Paul sitting down. I like that. That's good.
Thank you for the golf clap, Omlin. We've got a bad pun for our next segue for this day in history. Take it away.
All right, featured this day. Going back. All right, 1540. Who was King Henry VIII of England? Privately married his 5th wife, Catherine Howard. Well, I don't even remember Catherine Howard. Quietly, privately, his 5th wife. Dude, why do you just keep getting married? You're the king. Didn't you watch that Mel Brooks thing about it's good to be the king? You don't have to get married. All right, you can have as many, what do they call them, flings as you want. Look at any king in history. But he just thought he got to get married for some damn reason. I don't know. What an idiot. King Henry VIII was an idiot. Just a freaking idiot. And apparently farted a lot, too. So there's that. That was in 1540, that idiot. In 1750s, jumping way ahead in history, Johann Sebastian Bach died at the age of 65, one of the greatest composers of all time. We're all listening to Bach, whether we know it or not. 1794, Maximilien Robespierre, anyways, the French Revolution guy, a radical Jacobin leader who was one of the principal figures of the French Revolution, was guillotined before a cheering mob on the Place de la Révolution in Paris. Yeah, okay. But again,
the left eating the left happens again.
That's the guillotine. French, when they're guillotined. 1821, Peru declared its independence from Spain. They said, F you, Spain, we're out of here. 1821, Spain said, we really don't care anymore. 1844, Gerard Manley Hopkins is one of the most individual of Victorian writers, who was influenced by many 20th century poets. Was born in Stratford, Essex, England. Happy birthday to Gerard Manley Hopkins. I guess he was Manley. That was his middle name. 1868, the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which granted citizenship and equal legal rights to Black Americans and enslaved people who had been emancipated after Civil War entered into force. It also said, if you're born in this country, United States, you are a citizen from now until forever. And the Supreme Court upheld it recently, even though Stinky the Clown, I don't know, he works for Russia. We already know that. 1896, the city of Miami was voted into existence. They just held a vote, and 344 people said, why the hell not? Let's call it Miami. Why it's called Miami, I have no idea. I know there's a Miami in Ohio, but it's named after the Miami Indian tribe, right? But Ohio is nowhere near southern Florida, so I don't think it's the same. Maybe the Indian tribe had a branch down in Miami. I don't know. Kind of far one. 1932, the first feature-length zombie film, White Zombie. That's right, not the band with Rob Zombie, but the first feature-length zombie film, White Zombie, inspired by the book and a stage play called Zombie, was released in New York City. It starred Bela Lugosi. Oh, Bela Lugosi is creepy enough to be in all the monster films. 1946, U.S. Army Air Force's B-25 bomber crashed into the Empire State Building. After its pilot became disoriented in thick fog, the accident killed 14 people and injured 26. Wow. That's rough. Why are you flying over New York City with a bomber? Is that a fucking thing? I mean, that makes no sense. The classic film 1954. Yeah, it's just stupid. In the fog, of all things. 1954, the classic film on the waterfront, directed by Elia Kazan, featured Marlon Brando's most iconic performances. Stella! Stella! It was released in the United States. Don't forget Stella. In 1976, the earthquake of the industrial city of Kazakhstan, China, killed more than 240,000 people. It doesn't say what the Richter scale has to report on it. Maybe it says it in this little map here in the corner. I can't see. Magnitude. It doesn't say 7.8. That's what it says in that little map. That's a big fucking earthquake. All right. I don't know why it doesn't say an article. I guess they're just trying to not scare me. I don't. In 1990, Spanish cyclist Miguel Indurain won the first of his 5 consecutive Tour de France title. And he won it in the rain. I don't know if he won it in the rain, but you got to know they don't stop cycling because it's raining. That's not a thing. 2005, the Irish Public Army announced that it had ended its armed campaign and instead would pursue only peaceful means to achieve its objectives. Now stick to it. All right. Let's see. More Irish Protestant Catholic violence. All that shit was all started by frickin' Henry VIII, by the way. He's the one that made Anglican Church. 1948, Battle of the London Airport. In 1948, an audacious robbery attempt was foiled at the newly opened London Airport with the help from an inside man. Robbers had planned to steal at least 1,000 pounds worth of gold bullion arriving from South America. That inside man changed his mind and called the Scotland Yard Flying Squad. Read on to discover what happened next. I don't know. I'm not going to read on, but apparently there was some kind of battle after this guy turned on his fellow thieves. So the Heathrow, which hasn't been named Heathrow just yet, just opened. It just opened. They already had a robbery attempt. That's crazy. Beginning of World War I was on this day. That's right. Yes, right. 1914, using the assassination of Austria's Archduke Franz Ferdinand, it is a pretext to present Serbia with an unacceptable ultimatum. Austria-Hungary declared war in a Slavic country in this day, 1914. Sparking World War I, didn't solve a damn thing. Big damn waste of time. Just a stupid waste of life. Other birthdays today, we have Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, born in this day, 1939. Jackie, if she was still around, would be 97. Who redefined the role of the U.S. First Lady with her elegance, charm, and especially her composure after the 1963 assassination of her husband, JFK. Let's talk about her leopard skin pillbox hat. No, she didn't have a leopard skin pillbox hat. She didn't have a pillbox hat, though. She made them famous. Birthdays today. Let's do famous birthdays besides Miss Bouvier Kennedy. And as we do, we'll do the youngest first. Let's find out the youngest. Musician Glorilla, born in 1999, turned 27. Musician Soulja Boy, born in 1990, turned 36.
Soulja Boy.
Oh, that's right. Papa Roach. Somebody named Jake.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my life resort. Papa Roach. All the people I know.
Afro Man, turning 52. Hey. I was gonna wish him a happy birthday, but then I got high. He was born in 1974. Let's see, Dana White, that scumbag is head of the AFC, on his knees in front of Donald Trump on a daily basis. That guy's a piece of shit. UFC can go straight to hell. Let's see who else. Scott Pelley, the guy who resigned from 60 Minutes because they're a bunch of fascist scum. He's turning 69 today. They were probably going to retire him anyway, right? So Scott Pelley, happy birthday to him. Having integrity. Good for you, Scott. Deep Purple's musician Scott Morse turning 72. I'm not sure what the hell he played in Deep Purple, but I guess he was in the band for a time in 1954. It just says his name. Who else have I heard of? Georgia Engel, the She was on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She played Ted Baxter's wife. She was born in 1948. Sally Struthers, who's still around, she played Gloria in All in the Family. Probably the only survivor, right, of All in the Family these days. She's turning 79. Cartoonist Jim Davis. We know who Jim Davis is? Garfield. He's turning 81. The guy who started Garfield, born in 1945. So happy birthday to him. And baseball Hall of Fame member and former U.S. Senator Bill Bradley turning 83. He was born in 1943. What else we got? Musician Rudy Valley, 1901. The guy who hosted the first comedy talk show on the history of TV. Marcel Duchamp, artist, born in 1887. And that's about it. Our National Day calendar is not that big. It's Buffalo Soldiers Day. Buffalo Soldiers are black cavalry soldiers and infantry, but mostly cavalry soldiers who were out on the western prairie. And the Indians on the prairies saw their curly locks and said, hey, that reminds me of buffalo hair. So they called them Buffalo Soldiers. National Milk Chocolate Day. It's National Water Park Day. Hepatitis Awareness Week. Take care of your liver, people. Stop eating things you don't know what the hell they are. That's how your liver gets destroyed. Also by alcohol or anything else your body can't process. So those are your things. Have some milk chocolate. Be aware of your liver. Take a swim in some water and honor the Buffalo Soldier.
Kiss a Buffalo Soldier.
It's your mispronunciation. Real quick. It's just your haikus, your limericks for Good Tuesday. Tuesday, July 28th, 2026 on Before Milk Chocolate. Not that
tasty.
Chocolate, that milk chocolate that's really bad for you, apparently. I don't know. I'll eat milk chocolate. I don't care.
Extra sugar, I think. I think it's just because it has extra sugar.
Yeah. And they say don't let your dogs eat chocolate, but if they eat milk chocolate, they'll be fine. There's not that much chocolate.
It's the dark chocolate that is full of the stuff that kills them.
Yeah, cacao is gonna kill them, not that milk chocolate. Yeah. It's like the incidental amount. Don't take them to the doctor. Don't spend a lot of money. Just let them get their diarrhea and get it out of the way. Anyway, let's have us a spin. Oh, I did that already. I'm done.
Yes, my bad puns.
I'm done talking.
Did you hear about the greenhouse heist?
Yes, I did.
Heard the cops planted evidence.
Oh no!
Water parks really know how to pull people together.
Oh.
And finally, this is our bad joke of the actual bad joke. Great first ladies of the United States have their own cause. Michelle Obama's Your Truth, Melania Trump's Be Best, and Jackie Kennedy's Take Your Shot.
Oh, God.
I told you it was a bad joke. I told you it was a bad one.
Oh, no. Ow.
Oh, dear. Speaking of hepatitis, yeah, it's WHO's Hepatitis Day. We'll actually read what the WHO has to say about hepatitis and the UN. World Hepatitis Day, which is today, is challenging people to step up for their national and international efforts against hepatitis and encourage actions. It's chosen as the National Day because it's the birthday of the Nobel Prize-winning scientist Dr. Baruch Blumberg, who discovered hepatitis B and developed a diagnostic test and vaccine for the virus. Yay! Thanks for helping us fight a virus. So celebrate hepatitis. That is the continued.
Wow, I didn't load my own video.
Oh, you have to load your video. This has been Allison from the Netherlands and Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. As we're done with a Good Tuesday. I hope that was a nice dose of positive news for you today for the week. And we will see you, of course, tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday, in which we will tell you all the weird and wacky stuff that has been going to give yourself some inspiration of the wackiness of life and how, sometimes things aren't so serious. And they're just a bit wacky and weird. If you're not already following us on Before Coffee Podcast on Twitch, please do that because we're trying to get to 100 followers on Twitch. And go ahead and subscribe to us on Before Coffee Podcast on YouTube. We're trying to get to, I guess, 500 or 1,000 subscribers on there. So appreciate all the support, everyone.
Subscribe,
follow, click those bells, turn those notifications on so you never miss an episode, because we do this every day, Before Coffee, every day with different theme days. And thank you to all our Before Coffee supporters on Patreon for keeping the show going. Here is our nutty mic drop moment.
It is time for the latest edition of What's in a Name this morning, and we're getting a little nutty. We are talking about a bridge, but not the average bridge that you and I can walk on. They are for squirrels only.
Where are squirrels crossing these bridges, you ask? Longview is the answer, and that's where Devin Haskins is hanging out this morning. Devin, tell us about these
squirrels
bridges.
Safely cross the street.
Yeah, I mean, when we know how to cross streets, we learn at an early age. You know, you look both ways. You go. For a squirrel, it's maybe more like a game of Frogger, just darting and dashing to get across. Well, a local man almost 60 years ago built this bridge. It's called the Nutty Narrows, and it is a way for the squirrels to cross the roads,
so
which
cute.
we actually just saw about a minute ago, across this busy road.
Imagine having to avoid these, or this, at 30 miles an hour just across the street. Now imagine doing it as a squirrel. It's almost too nutty to believe, but there's a solution for these rodents whose name means shade tail. It's called the Nutty Narrows, a bridge built for squirrels to avoid an almost certain death.
They started in 1963, and they were started by Amos Peters.
Amos Peters was a local architect who kept noticing dead squirrels on the road as he went to work. Here's his original sketch of the design.
So him and a bunch of other pranksters got together and they built the first squirrel bridge. And they built it out of antenna stock.
He even has
so
a
it was
hat.
real lightweight.
Nutty Narrows hangs over Olympia Way in Longview, and even though it looks empty,
Look at the
this is
squirrel.
Rick Johnson, president of the local Sandbaggers Club.
We do things and then we ask for forgiveness later.
The Sandbaggers are known for their nuttiness. They organized a
When it comes to
Squirrel
saving
Fest over a
squirrels,
decade ago.
fuck the
It's a
rules.
free festival held every year to
They have a
celebrate that first
squirrel
squirrel bridge.
mascot.
We usually find one or two people that come to our event and say,
You have to
well,
go to
down
Squirrel
south,
Fest,
we
man.
eat them things.
That's an event just for you.
You know, up here we look at them differently.
And at almost every Squirrel Fest since, a new bridge is unveiled and hung.
Currently,
Really?
bridges
Oh,
right
that's
now.
so
There's
cool.
the Safety Awareness Bridge, the John R. Dick Squirrel Bridge. It's a replica of a bridge in Boston. The R.D. Olson Bridge, which resembles the Lewis and Clark Bridge, and the S&R Squirrel Bridge. If that looks familiar, it's an exact replica of the Fremont Bridge, except with a squirrel theme.
Every bridge is different. Every bridge was built
Really
by
cool. That's a really cool
either
way
a company or a
to
corporation
make it a community
or
thing.
something, and it's their own design.
The Squirrel Fest may only last a day, but the celebration of the bridges lasts even longer. Every year, the Nutty Narrows gets decorated for the holidays.
God.
So if you ever see a
Wow, that's
squirrel
so
trying to cross
adorable.
the road, try and guide them to the nearest squirrel bridge.
Look at that tail. That's a happy squirrel.
If you want to come experience Squirrel Fest here in Longview, it takes place on Saturday, August 20th.
You can go
That's tomorrow.
on August
Takes off
20th.
at 10 a.m. It is free for the whole family to come join. There's food, there's music,
All
there's
the way in
games,
Washington, huh?
everything. It lasts from 10 to 10. So back here in Longview, the Squirrel Bridge, the Nutty Narrows, was actually added
Wow,
to the
look at that
National Register of Historic Places
huge
in
squirrel.
2014. And to commemorate Amos Peters' contribution for those squirrels, they built him a statue.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.